A manipulator is someone skilled at influencing others for personal gain, often through deceptive or indirect tactics. They employ various psychological behaviors to control situations or people. Examples include gaslighting, where they distort facts to make others doubt their own perceptions, and guilt-tripping, using emotional pressure to manipulate actions. Manipulators often evade responsibility and shift blame to maintain their control. This brings us to this man, but before delving into showcasing the traits of a master manipulator, let's examine a contrasting example. Jared Murray, an 18-year-old male who asked his friend Gennaro Sanchez for a ride to Walmart. However, upon arrival, Murray pulled out a handgun, forcing Gennaro to drive to an isolated area where he was fatally shot twice in the head. Murray then attempted to flee to Canada but was apprehended. He is the absolute contrast to manipulation. His communication is direct, transparent, and genuine. He expresses his thoughts, feelings, and intentions honestly, devoid of deceit or hidden agendas. He avoids seeking confirmation, deflecting blame, or justifying his actions.
I went down to his dorm room and asked if I could be given a ride to Walmart in exchange for $20 gas money.
Okay, so he took you to Walmart?
Yes, sir.
And did you both go in?
No, we did not go in, sir.
Okay, and why not?
We pulled into the parking lot, then I pulled the weapon on him and demanded that he take me to Asher, Oklahoma, sir.
Okay, and why did all of a sudden did you decide that you needed to go to Asher?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Okay, did he say anything?
He panicked, wanted to pull out his phone. I yanked the phone out of his hand, and then he panicked some more, kept telling me not to kill him. To make him feel more comfortable, I unloaded the clip, unloaded the bullet from the chamber, handed them over to him, and that eased his nerves a little. Then I pulled a second clip out of my pocket and set it on my lap.
And so you're driving east, and so I guess at some point, did you decide now was the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what happened?
I loaded the gun quickly, chambered the round quickly, shot once, missed, shot a second time, hit, jumped out of the car, went around. He was driving 10-15 miles an hour, so it was rather slow. Ran around the hood of the car, and of course it was slow when he wasn't purposefully driving. Tried to pull him out, couldn't get him out until he already had hit the tree. Pulled him out there, dumped him into the, before I dumped him into the ditch, I heard him gurgling. I'm not sure if that was a physiological or physical process after death, but I thought that he might have still lived through that somehow, because he was gurgling, so I shot him again and then shoved him down in the ditch.
Murray maintained an objective and unbiased demeanor, speaking without hesitation or emotional attachment. He lacked any controlling agenda, unlike our main subject, Richard Cottingham, a man responsible for over 80 murders between 1967 and 1980. In 1980, he was apprehended while torturing one of his victims in a hotel room, prompting a call to the police by the security staff upon hearing her screams. Initially, he claimed to have paid the victim $180 for consensual intercourse, attempting to justify his actions. The lead detective, Robert Anzilotti, previously acquainted with Cottingham, developed a friendship with him. Cottingham would taunt Anzilotti about the killings without providing evidence. When Anzilotti used his retirement as leverage for a confession, Cottingham initially denied involvement, but later sought reduced punishment in exchange for details. This interrogation is unique from others, as the detectives refrained from reading Miranda rights or using interrogation tactics. They did not inform him that the interrogation room was being recorded, leading him to believe their focus was solely on negotiating a plea deal for details about the murders and how they were committed.
So start from where you're talking.
Let me do it my way.
Hold on, just so I get it clear. The street that the ice rink was on.
Let me explain to you. This way you know everything I know about this.
Okay.
Cottingham recounts details about his distinctive killing ground and discusses one of his victims.
Here's the street going to the ice rink.
Okay.
And then I wind up coming down this road here. This was the field, the cornfield, that I always, the road's back here. This time I came and it looked kind of wet and everything, so I used to just drive right off the road, drive back in, and turn the car around and face this way. So I always knew, even if a cop car came by and seen me from here, by the time he got back here, I was gone into the woods. So I never brought my car there. So this time, I went up to here, and I went around this way. And my intention was to see if this was drier. And then, now on the other side, just like this, right from here, that was all swamp or woods, whatever. So this time, I went, now the three houses I'm talking about are here, here, and here. So I pulled the car up this way. And I went in, I said, let me try over here, maybe I'll find a new spot. And when I went in about 40 or 50 feet, the car stopped. I got stuck in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed there about 10, 15 minutes. I was talking, I was trying to decide what to do. The cop car came up this way. And then he went by, and then I seen him back up. So I knew he spotted the car in there. So I got out of the car with her, and I ran into the woods. I didn't even know where I was going. Now there was dogs in his house that started barking, either from me or the cop car or whatever. So that's what triggered. So now I said, let me go over that way. So I stopped here, and she started screaming. She heard the cop car, and she's screaming. The cops were up there, they couldn't see where the screaming was coming from, but they were by the empty car. But we were now 40 or 50 feet into the woods.
And the empty car is the victim's car?
Right.
It's her car?
Right. Her car was right around here. We're back here. I could see the cops because they had flashlights and everything, but they couldn't see me, but they could hear her screaming. So I panicked, and I stabbed her. I tried to shut her up, and then I took off, and I ran behind this house, and between these two houses, because the dogs were barking from this house, and I came back across here. Now the cops were out here, flashlights then. I ran right, they didn't see me. And I ran this way, so they're thinking I'm still running into the woods. I came back the other way. And when I ran from that second house, I ran this, I would say straight line, maybe it's, a little curved or anything, I almost fell over the well.
Okay.
So if you get the address of this house,
It's directly opposite.
it's directly out from the end of the house, it's almost directly opposite, and I would say 150 to 175 yards in. You'd have it there. Now it looked like there's a whole housing development there. This whole area was my killing ground, if you want to call it that. So I knew the area. And then when I ran, like I said, I almost tripped over. It had a big piece of corrugated metal over it. And then I ran out here, and I got back on this road. I ran over through the woods and everything, behind some other houses here, and I ran on this road. And that's how. And I walked all the way back to Westwood. That's why I know if you find out where that girl, where they write up the girl, then you get land records, you'll know the exact, right to the inch where this second house was.
Right.
Because the houses aren't there no more. Because we went by, there was no houses there, I don't think. If I would have seen three houses, I would have said, yeah, this is it.
Well, there might be 3 houses, but there might be 100 next to them now.
They were old farmhouses.
Okay.
To verify the authenticity of Cottingham's confession, the detectives will scrutinize specific details within his story. This meticulous approach allows them to investigate and validate the accuracy of his claims. As the interrogation progresses, the detective will ask questions aimed at uncovering the complete context surrounding his killings.
You're positive you abducted that girl from the Bergen Mall? That's the mall that you kept...
Well, I can't say that.
Okay.
It was either that, I'm 90% sure it was the Bergen Mall, but it could have been the Garden State Mall.
Okay. But it's one of the malls...
Oh, one of those two.
Okay.
Guaranteed, 100%. It was about, it was dark. I would say it was probably about 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30.
And give me just approximate year. When did you move to Lodi?
Moved from Lodi?
No, to Lodi. So at this point, did you still live in Rivervale?
No, I used to live in Little Ferry.
Oh, right, okay.
I used to live in Little Ferry from 1970 to like 73, I think.
Okay.
And then I moved to Lodi.
Prior to 70, where were you living?
Riverville.
Right, that's what I thought. So when this happened though, were you living in Rivervale or Littlebury?
I don't remember. I think, no, I definitely wasn't living in Riverville.
Okay, so then you think it had to be after 1970 then?
No, it definitely was, then it would have to be after 1970, the early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Okay, there's a diner on Route 4. It was a pretty famous diner back then, and probably still there. Okay, which
The diner was near the Bergen Mall?
what I did was I parked my car. It's a 24-hour diner. That's where I parked my car. I've done this a couple of times. So my car would be, if I didn't come back for a day, there's always people coming and going. Then I would go in. The diner had a.
Use the next page here. It's not much of a diner at this point.
Yes. Route 4, I wouldn't be surprised if the diner, there's Forest Avenue, you go right down to Route 4?
Mm-hmm. There used to be a diner on the corner of Forest Avenue and Route 4.
The building's still there, but it's not a diner.
And opposite that diner, if you go across the highway this way...
Was there a walkway?
Yes. Goes over to the Bergen Mall.
Bergen Mall. I guarantee the Bergen Mall. Because that's what I did. I parked my car there and I walked across the thing into the mall. Then I walked around the mall.
And how did you get her? How did you end up getting her back in her car? Anything that helps me?
No, she was getting into a car and I just pushed my way in.
Okay.
That's how I always...
Then you take her car.
Then, I pushed my way in. I handcuffed her. I tied her up. And then we just drove up the Montville.
Okay, so then once you're up this way, and you're solid, you're rock solid, this is Montville?
I'm not... Okay, the only thing I can say, I'm rock solid about this whole thing. 90% sure that's the intersection. I can't believe there's any other intersection.
As the detective aimed to confirm the location of the killing ground, Cottingham recalled a crucial detail: the specific time of year when the crimes occurred and why they were limited to that particular time frame.
I went to this place 20 times, but I always would come up here and then... See, I could only go during the winter. That's another thing. It had to be a cold month because during the summer this was all corn. You couldn't drive over it.
Okay.
So in the winter it was all cut down. You know, I'm not saying it could have been fall, but I mean, it had to, not summer or anything when the corn was growing. And I always would come up and then just drive right across the field, turn around, and it's fine. You know, I might be over here one time here, but it was always usually within 50 feet. It was almost, it was beautiful because I could command this whole view. And I could, you know, and there was no traffic. I mean, maybe a car would go by every 10 minutes. That's how little traffic was back then. It was all cornfield, all woods and cornfield. There was no, the only light was at this corner.
There was a traffic signal there?
There was a traffic signal. I think it used to just blink. I don't think it was a red and green. I think it was like a
Flashing yellow.
like a flashing yellow or flashing red type thing.
Okay.
So they didn't have to actually come to a stop.
Go back.
As they delved deeper into specific details, Cottingham may try to alter the narrative, portraying himself as considerate. He'll also seek confirmation from the officer that his intentions were not driven by enjoyment, but were, in fact, well-meaning.
So I can research this a little better. You mentioned you stabbed her. Do you know for sure how many times you stabbed her or anything like that?
One time.
Okay.
Right in the face.
Oh, it was definitely in the face.
Because she was screaming. I just kind of...
Okay.
I was just trying to stop her from screaming.
And she would have been tied up in some way?
At that point, I don't even know if she might have even been loose. I might have untied her. Because we were in the car for about 10, 15 minutes before that. Because I couldn't... I didn't know what to do. I couldn't back out. I couldn't go forward.
Right.
So I didn't know what to... I didn't want to hurt her head. You know, that... I wouldn't have done that. So... And if the cop car didn't come by, I don't know what I would have done. In fact, I was thinking both of us get out and push the car. I can tell you, she was dressed and she had a suit on. She had like a suit jacket and a tie.
A tie?
Yeah, a tie.
About how old is she?
early 20s, I would say.
Okay.
Dark hair.
You love dark hair. You,
You know, the funny thing is, most of my victims are dark, but I like blonde too.
so, alright, I have some things to work with on that. What kind of car? Any idea what kind of car it was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was a regular, I mean, it wasn't stick, that I know, but
Now,
As the detective recognizes the well as a probable dumping site for many bodies, he begins to ask for specific details relating to the well, aiming to extract as many confessions as possible.
tell me about the well. How did you ever first find the well?
I wanted to find a place to drop the body. But see, I always like to drop them near the side of the street so I can be found easy. And most of them, you'll sign over the thing. Almost all mine were. But in the beginning, I didn't think that way. But then I think, I didn't want these people rotting,
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little sentimental. I say, if you drop them near the street, somebody will find them in a day or two. But I walked. I might have just got out to take a leak or something. But I walked back. You could walk from this field. This field was all solid. There was no water, no wood, no swamp. But when you walk back in here, after you got about 40, 50 feet, it turned to swamp. Where there's actually water, you couldn't actually walk dry. And I was walking back there to see if I could find a place to, hide a body.
Were you by yourself when you first discovered it? Like you were just on like a scouting mission, or did you actually have a body in there that first time? Do you know?
I had a body.
Okay.
And I had the first time I seen it, I didn't know what it was. That's what it was. I walked on it, and it was tin. It was like a galvanized round type,
Like corrugated?
Yeah, it was like I'd say 8 foot long, 10 foot long, 5 foot wide.
So big.
It was a big piece. Because I walked on it, I realized this ain't ground no more. And it was like metal. But it was pitch black. I couldn't see what it was. I didn't have no flashlight. I never carried a flashlight or a light or anything. The next time I came back, I was earlier. It was only about 8 o'clock at night. It was still dark, but it was early. It was lighter, or the moon was out or something. So I went back to see what it was. And I seen it was a metal piece. So I moved it, and I couldn't see nothing. It was pitch black. So I dropped the rock. I went down, it sounded like 100 feet, but we're down about 20 feet, 15, 20 feet. And I seen the side, it was like a well. It looked like, but not brick, like stone or old cinder block or something, like an old-time cistern or something that somebody covered up so nobody would fall in. And then I said, hey, this is a good spot. Then I remember the 3 girls that dropped in there, and then I said, then I started thinking about them rotting there. I said, nah. That's why I started dropping them by the side of the streets.
So you only used that well for 3 bodies.
Just 3.
This would have been the 4th one, but she got away.
I don't know if I was going to put her in there. Because after those 3 were in there, I went back there many times, but I never put nobody else in there.
Okay.
So I don't know. It wasn't always planned. It was, just how things came out, I don't know if it just looked different to me that time. I thought I might get stuck. That's why I went around the other way. I would have went back. I don't know if I would have dropped her in the well as the 4th one or not. But I brought quite a few others after that I didn't. After that 3, I never went back to that well.
But you would go back to this field.
Oh, then yeah.
And then you would just go dump the body somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. The three girls that are in the well. Any ideas to help with those? Like, do you remember them at all?
No.
Where they came from, how they were killed, anything?
One was a hooker. One was a hooker that I picked up in Little Ferry. There was a hooker bar there in Little Ferry I used to go into. And I'm pretty sure and one was a waitress. I remember she was a waitress.
From where?
I don't know. Local in the area, but I don't know where. I think she was young too, I think. I'm not sure. And the other girl could be a blonde from Atlantic City, but I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm mixed up over just.
Every serial killer has their own method of killing, and what made Cottingham nearly uncatchable was his approach to murder. Moving forward, you'll witness segments showcasing the unpredictability he displayed while committing his murders.
Sometimes it was one after the other, and then sometimes for 6 months I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What would have made you bring a girl from Atlantic City all the way up here? Did you go down there?
Yeah, I was in Atlantic City.
What would have made you bring her all the way up here?
So that's where I brought them all. That's what I'm saying. Almost everyone was, not all of them,
Right.
but almost everyone was.
So let's assume for a minute that you killed a girl in this field. Forget the well for a minute. You kill a girl in this field. What would you do then? You just take the dead body and put it in your car to go dump it somewhere?
Well, I would, if I was in her car, I would just go different places. You know, I've gone up to New York State. I've driven from there all the way out to the end of Long Island.
How would you get back?
What?
How would you get back? If you
I would just drop the body and then come back with the car.
Okay.
And drop the car wherever. Sometimes it would be in my own car. But I never drove my own car across there. I was always afraid of getting stuck. I always knew if I got stuck, I could just run.
Right.
I never took my car in there. Like I said, a lot of times I would leave it in the 24-hour diner because it was beautiful. The car could stay there forever.
Right.
Nobody ever know. Nobody looked for it, and I always knew once I make it back to that diner, I'm okay. And that one on Route there had a big back parking lot. Had a little small one on the front facing the Route 4, but in the back was enormous, like 70, 80 cars could fit there. It was a good, nice diner. Good food in there. But I would always figure that's why nobody ever knew what was going on, because I would drive 3 hours out to Montauk, leave a body there. Next time I'd go there, well, down the turnpike until I couldn't go no further to travel, leave a body there. So there was never connected, never 2 or 3 until the very end where I started getting stupid.
Mm. What do you think, what year is the first, do you think? Do you have it in your head, or you have no idea?
Well, I can knock it down to 1 or 2 years.
What do you think? How far back?
67. 60, maybe the end of 66. 67.
It's a lot of years of running around.
A lot of states too.
Yeah.
Cottingham discloses the total number of his killings to the detective.
Do you have a number in your head that you think? Did you ever sit back and think about it?
It's sad to say I couldn't count that high. They start to get jumbled. I would say it's well over 80.
You think that many?
Well over. I've done some in Florida, Connecticut, a lot in New York,
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Baltimore. Any place within driving distance that was not connected to me, I would try. My whole thing was not to make a pattern, which I never did. And never to try to kill them the exact same way, or to, leave a signature. I wasn't stupid, and other than that one time in Hackensack where just luck, I would have been caught there.
Right.
I was never even close to getting caught, other than that one time.
Where'd you end up dumping that girl after that cop stopped you?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even remember who she was, but I was coming back from Montreal at the time. And that's what it was at. I was coming down River Road. And I was during the day too. And I never really did anything during the day, but it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I can remember certain little facts about everything until I start thinking, you know, then something might pop in. But a lot of runaways. See, a lot of the girls were hitchhikers, runaways.
There was a lot of hitchhiking back then too.
Oh, everybody hitchhiked. You know, every day going to work, I used to get more rides. Let's see.
When you are guilty of something and feel deserving of punishment, a direct and straightforward answer would be expected.
But my question again is, do you have any remorse?
No, sir.
What do you think should happen to you?
Death sentence, sir.
As Cottingham started revealing tons of information, a hint of guilt crept in, prompting him to take control of the agenda. He aimed to portray the situation in a less damning light by...
That was the thing with me. I wasn't a serial killer. No,
You just told me you think you killed over 80. That fits the definition pretty well.
no, it doesn't.
But I know what you said, because you've told me in the past. There's been many more that you let go.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
In other words, I didn't go out to kill somebody. Most anyone I killed was when I would be somehow connected to them, and I didn't want to get caught. It was more than just not getting caught. I was just thinking about myself.
What do you mean connected? Meaning like somebody might have seen her get
Well,
in the car or...
Yeah, like in the Bergen Mall. You know, I walked around the mall. I walked the park, or followed her into the parking lot. Anybody could have sit in the car. To me, in my mind, I don't know if anybody's seen me. You know, that to me, you know, like I tell you, one time in Atlantic City, I met a girl in resorts. She went with me, and I brought her back up here. In my mind, hey, I could be on a camera down there or whatever. So those were the ones I couldn't leave. But if the girl wasn't dangerous to me, I never went out to kill. That's why I said I'm not really like a standard serial killer. I didn't get no enjoyment out of someone. And that's the truth. Never had no enjoyment. It was very hard.
So what was the thrill? Was it more rape? Control? Tying up?
No, it was the game. It was being able to get away with it. The stalking. To be able to do it was like the perfect murder every time. You see something in the paper, a body was trying to hit, you never heard of it because there was never nothing after that. You know, no cops ever came around me or sniffed around like you see on TV. It was getting away with it. And even a lot of times, it was control. But I mean, a lot of times we didn't even have sex.
Now you'll catch a glimpse of Cottingham's manipulative tactics.
A lot of times and sometimes. It was more, I used to say, the hardest, when I was doing the hookers, the hardest thing in the world is to be the hooker. And when I mean be the payer. Right. The out hustle, because they are sharp. You don't understand that because you never was in the, if you would have seen New York City hookers in the 60s, they were sharp. And they would never do anything, ever, until you paid them first. I mean, it was like a religion. But I would get them so greedy by showing so much money. I would show them a wad like $1,000, $1,200. Their eyes would go crazy. And I always appeared innocent, naive, green. I played that act. Like I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I acted afraid around them, we're going to get caught or all this stuff. So in their mind, they're going to rob me. And it was the game to get, most times we went out drinking, I'd get them drinking, get them drunk, get them in a room, have all the sex, and I never paid them. And that was the majority of the thing, to beat them out of their money, because they were going to try to beat me out of it. I mean, I had a case right here, right on Route 46. I had a girl in there. She was so greedy. She took she was naked from the waist up. She grabbed my pants and ran out of the room with my pants and left her shirt behind. And she runs right into a guy next door. He opens the door, he heard the
You
noise.
thought she was stealing your wallet? Or stealing your cash?
She was.
Yeah.
She grabbed it. She got about $1,100 from me. I was the only one that ever got away. Got my money out of all of them. She did, because I never thought she'd run out without clothes.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pretending I'm drunk and I'm laying there and everything. Man, she made a beeline for that fuck.
That's classic.
Oh, I can tell you the story.
Nothing says, even if I was able to find it,
Yeah.
nothing says that it's not developed all over, that...
I know, it's probably impossible.
Or that, obviously, we'd have no, who knows how we would even identify anybody in it. I don't even know. But obviously, I'd like to find it, because we would like to put these 3 girls to rest somewhere.
But that would hit the papers. That's what scares me. That you couldn't cover that one up. If they found the bodies now.
No, but that doesn't mean that it's you that hits the papers unless you decide to accept
But
responsibility.
then people would ask, how, I thought it was too. Then they're going to ask, how did you know it was located over there? Reporters aren't stupid either,
It's a tall order trying to find this.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew last time when we drove you up there that it's just changed so much that it was never going to work. But we'll try. I'll try it again. The girl that you talked to me about that looks like that actress, Sherry Athley, right? Do you remember the stuff that you told me?
No. I remember.
I don't want to feed it to you.
No.
Because I want to hear what you remember about it.
I don't remember.
You had good detail on it. You really did.
I remember there was a girl that the name of the picture was Roswell.
Yeah.
That's the name of the picture she was in. Every time I watched that picture, it reminded me of that girl.
Correct.
Looked exactly like her for some reason.
Exactly what you told
I
me.
don't know. That I remember. I got to play it back in my head.
Do you remember you told me you followed her from a store in Hackensack?
Sears.
Yeah.
Sears
To a
and
bus stop.
Sears and Rhodes.
Did that bring it back?
No, I didn't follow her to a bus stop. I met her in Sears.
Okay.
I seen that she was buying something. She bought something in Sears. She purchased something in Sears, a scarf or something like that. And I followed her out of the store. And she walked down Main Street towards the movie theaters down there. I was walking behind her, seeing where she was going. And she stopped at one of the stores either right before the movies or right after the movies. I was looking in the window and I went up next to her and I started talking to her. And I was trying to get her to go if she wanted to go to a movie. And she said no, she had to be home by 10 o'clock or something like that. So I'm trying to figure out how can I get her for some drinks to get some liquor into her or whatever like that. That was right by the movie theaters.
How did you get it?
I told her, I asked her, I got her to agree to go for one drink.
You remember how old she was?
I think I don't know how old I was at the time. I don't know what year it was, but I think she was pretty close to my age. We were, I think the early 20s, if I'm not mistaken.
And where'd you end up going?
I got her to go to the Holiday Inn in Little Ferry on the Circle there. And that's where I had my car parked.
You had to walk there?
No, we took a bus.
Oh, okay.
No, we took a cab. We went to get a bus and there was no buses. We took a cab to the Little Ferry. I told her I didn't tell her. I didn't want to mention the Holiday Inn itself as, as the thing, but I told her there was a nice lounge there. And I said, my car is parked there. Because that's another place I parked my car, right next to the Valley Fair. I parked it in the Holiday Inn parking lot because nobody, your car's anonymous. It could stay there. If I never had to come back for 2 days, it would still be there. And nobody would be saying, what's this car, So I parked a lot of times right there. And when we went into the lounge, there was only like about 10 people and it was really, really empty, I remember. I thought this was good because we sat in the back. But I got the feeling she wasn't going to do nothing, I just, how you can tell, She had 2 drinks. I got a second drink into her. I can tell you one thing. If they have, I can tell you the last meal. I can tell you what their stomach contents would say. Pizza.
You ate pizza there?
No, not there. Later on, but we stopped and we got some pizza about 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I think in Hackensack. But that's where we went. We went for pizza later. So she should have pizza in her stomach.
And then where'd you go?
Now I'm telling you too much. We haven't made no deal yet.
We ain't
You got me talking.
formalized anything.
You got me talking.
Nothing you didn't tell me on the car ride back to Trenton.
I don't remember that.
I gotta show you my notes. Back then I had a BlackBerry. While Jimmy McMorrow was driving, you were in the back seat talking. I was emailing myself on my BlackBerry.
The majority of Cottingham's victims were asphyxiated because he had discovered a cunning trick that allowed him to escape capture every time by deceiving the police and distorting the true cause of death.
You know, see, there's also cases that if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying.
Like what? What does that mean?
I think I told you once before that I, just by walk at it, but just by happenstance, you can kill somebody one way and it'll appear to be a different way. And some of the people that you will say were asphyxiated weren't asphyxiated. I never can pronounce that word.
Asphyxiated.
Asphyxiated. I can't say it. I don't know why. I can't say that word.
Strangled, choked, whatever. Smothered.
But, and if I tell you the truth how they really were killed, you're going to say full of shit. Because the death certificate is going to say a different way.
Okay. So how would they be killed then?
They were drowned.
How? How would a drowning not look like a drowning?
Because if you drop a body in the summer, in the heat, all the water must evaporate from the body if the body's not found right away. So now there's no water in the lungs or anything anymore. And the only reason I read it, you know, some reports in paper, a couple of times, this girl was sophisticated, and I didn't know. And they didn't realize they were drowned.
I can't speak to how exact the science of
I don't know.
of autopsies were back in the 60s or 70s, you know. So
I bet you even now they couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
You leave a body out where it starts to decay, you know, after 2 or 3 days, you can't tell it was drowned. Because there's no water in the lungs. The lungs, everything's collapsed already.
We don't have that, well, at least here in Bergen County, we don't really have that many decaying bodies like that, or unsolved, I should say. Not many of our cold cases have anything to do with decaying bodies. So I don't know if that's the case of anything that's here in Bergen. I can't speak to any of the other counties.
Well, I can tell you for a fact, it is here in Bergen.
I don't remember any of them that are, certainly not decaying.
Well, I'm just using that word, but I'm saying if it's in the summer and it's left in the heat, I'm assuming what happens is all the water dries up. So there is no water in the lungs that would determine, and it would be the farthest thing you would think somebody's, you find them in a lot, you wouldn't ever even think about drowning.
What would make you drown somebody and then bring them back in the car? Why wouldn't you leave them in the water?
Because they weren't drowned.
Or a bathtub, whatever, right? So,
oh, you got to get them out of the bathtub, don't you?
Yeah, I guess it depends where you are.
Right. Like I said, I did things in all different ways. But I told you that in the very beginning.
You did tell me that. I remember. You did tell me that at the very beginning.
Because I always said, you know, this is the perfect murder. I mean, they can't tell, obviously. Then, you know, when I thought about it, I said, well, you know, the heat dries everything up. The body's all dry. Why would you think somebody's drowned? The only way to tell is water in the lungs. So if it's, you know, the lungs are clapped, you think just smothered. And there are cases right here.
Well, you have to enlighten me, then, so I can look at them.
That's down the line.
You have to enlighten me, because I don't know that I believe.
But that's what, I know. But that's why I'm saying, if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying, so I can tell you a lie and you'll think I'm telling the truth.
Not at all, not at all. Yeah, I need you to tell me what you remember, that's all. I mean, and if it marries up to something, it marries up to something. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Well, you know. You know?
No.
So what do you think? What do you, when you keep saying, well, we come to an agreement, what is it in the agreement? What does that mean? Tell me what that means in your mind. Besides the obvious that I know already, which is you're looking for it not to get back to your...
Well, that's the main thing. But we gotta talk what I'm gonna get out of it.
The satisfaction of righting a wrong.
No,
That's what you get out of it. And I think you're almost at that point. What do you want for dinner tonight? Let's start with the simple. What do we...
Cottingham secured a plea deal and received a life sentence in prison, avoiding execution.